we are here with the amazing Brittany, the CEO of the Mosaic Label. How you doing? What's
Good.
up?
How are you?
I'm so excited for this interview. So, I'm an ambassador for this brand. So I got all my gear. I got my necklace. I got my Loving in Virginia shirt. I got my cards. I got everything. I love this brand. I love everything about it. I'm so happy you created it. So we're just gonna get to know you and your story and how it all came out to be. And so yeah, so my first question was like, what was the motivation behind this? Like what made you look around and be like, hey, we need some brands, we need some fashion for like mixed race people. So what was kind of like the story behind like the
Yeah. So I'm mixed. My
Mhm.
mom's side is Irish and my dad's side is Trinidadian. And in Trinidad, you can do like multiple things. So we're mostly
Mhm.
African and Indian. And then my
Right.
husband is also mixed. He's Puerto Rican and Black.
Mhm.
And so we had a daughter. She's 5, but she'll be 6 in April. And so we call her the United Nations baby. She's pretty much everything.
Mhm.
And so we're
Right.
from New York. We like a lot of clothes. We like a lot of sneakers. We like a lot of fashion. So of course, like my kid had to, have new clothes all the time. So I found myself looking for clothes for her, and I found myself like on a website, and I saw a really like cute shirt, and I think it had like a white ballerina, and I was like, oh, that's cute, but like I wonder if there was any other race. And I just found myself thinking like, why should I have to pick one or the other? Because mostly it was only like white characters, and then we're starting to see more and more over the years of like white characters, and now we have Black characters, which is great. But again, we fall somewhere in the middle with like tones and shades, and
Right.
somewhere in like the tan. So I was like, oh man, it would be really cool if it was like both or two or like one in the middle. And I was looking around, I really couldn't find what I wanted, and so I was like, oh, whatever, right? Okay, whatever. And then like the idea to do something on my own just didn't leave. So I spent like this was in 2021. So I spent the month of January and I just wrote in a notebook and I had a full notebook. And then February, still like the ideas kept coming. And I'm like, okay, something's telling me I have to do this. Like there are other mixed race brands out there, but not what I do. I have a very specific aesthetic. I have a very specific clientele. I have a very specific community. Because a lot of the things that we do are not really overt. They're kind of subtle. They're mixed in, like with pop culture, as you can see. Me and Priscilla both have this.
I love it. Yeah, the mix too.
Yeah,
Love
so
it. Amazing.
things like that and then I was like, I have to do it. It's been crazy because not only do I have this business, I also am a mom. I also have 2 dogs. I have a house a house is a whole other child. And in addition to that, I do work a 9 to 5. So I have a full career in operations and that I've had since I was in college. So I have to juggle everything at the same time. But Mosaic is the one thing that never is like, oh, I have to do it. It's always like, oh, I get to do it. So I
Love
try
it.
to dedicate, a couple hours every single day in my free time to this company. So
You're absolutely phenomenal. You're such an inspiration to me, honestly. Like so inspiring because it's like the idea chose you, right? So
yeah,
it's like
it's
so
weird.
cool.
Yeah, it like
I
it
love
it
that.
came and then it was like, this is what you're gonna do. You have to do this. And
It chose you, right? Because it's
mhm,
like I think I view us as like we're kind of like an underserved population, right? Because it's
mhm,
like you said, we wasn't pick a side. There's something that's specific for us in the middle. So it's like you are serving like underpopulated, and you're so successful. Like I've seen your growth from the beginning. Like you're just busting out products like bam 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 like the latest drop, like the card, like the affirmation card. This is like so special to me. Like I absolutely love this. Let me pick a little card. I just love it. Like my favorite one was like I deserve to be here. Like that one really like hit home to me because I'm like,
mhm.
wow, we do deserve to be here. We do deserve to be seen. We do deserve to be loved. And we do deserve to have these things that are empowering to us. So I
Mhm.
do love it. So what are like the main values of like your brand that you really stand on? That's like this is what are your main values,
Yep.
you think?
Well, you said one for sure. Like we believe in not picking sides. Like our slogan or our tagline or whatever you want to call it is the parts make the whole. Because at
Mm-hmm.
Mosaic, we really do believe that all parts of you is what creates the whole you. So we don't believe in,
Absolutely.
50% that or 50% this, half that. And that message goes broader to mixed race individuals, right? It's people who are
Right.
multi-hyphenates or who identify in multiple ways, right? Like you're a mom and a business person. You're, a career
Exactly.
person
You're
and a dad.
multifaceted.
You're multifaceted. So like, it's one of those
I
things
love it.
that, of course, I have a very specific community, but we are starting to reach a larger, more broader community just because there are so many people out there that don't feel like I have to choose one or the other, especially when it comes to even, something like gender, right? You want to be gender fluid, or you don't want society to tell you this is how you have to, right? Like, this is your box and you're going to stay in this box. Whereas I think so many people are not like, I don't want to do that. I don't resign to that, kind of lifestyle, or I don't resign to that ideology. So that's really our core tenet, is that we are everything. We can live in the middle. We like to live in the middle. Like, that's a perfectly fine place. We don't have to choose a side. We can just be. And it's different for when, you're a mixed race person raising another mixed race person. It's weird because I've never experienced that, right? Both my parents are single races, and now I have to raise this whole other generation of someone who doesn't know what it is to be, this percent or this percent. All she knows is everything, so it's very weird, but also like something you have to work at every day. So I really run my business for my daughter, and I really do things for her and for, our community, because there's like so many things that, like you said, our products just speak to us because I speak the language, because I am you, right? We're the same.
Exactly.
And even though we're like different mixes, which is weird, we all have the same experiences, just with like slight, it's freaky, right? It's like weird.
Yeah, it is. It's like a universal thing. I've noticed that too. No matter if you're Black or Asian or this or that, it's like you have that same universal kind of like mixed race experience. So
yeah. So that's definitely my core tenet, is the parts make the whole. You don't have to choose a side. We're not, we don't have to, just because society would like you to identify as Black or white or Asian, like, just pick one. We don't subscribe to that. Like, this is who we are. If you don't like it, you can kick rocks, but this is who we are. And we are going to show that pride in who we are every single day through the things that we wear, through the things that we, choose to explain ourselves or show our pride. That was my main goal with Mosaic, is just to make sure that we're able to show who we are on a daily basis, whether it's the tiny pin on your book bag, to the hoodie that you're wearing, to the necklace that you're wearing, whatever it might be. It's something that's special to you, and it kind of like, it will, help you solidify your identity and show the world who you really are, because you don't want to pick one side or the other.
Absolutely. And it's been scientifically, they've studied us. So when biracial people, multiracial people, when they identify with both, it's actually, they have more self-esteem. They have more self-confidence in themselves. It's been scientifically proven that it's just healthier for us to just really embrace both. And it's very detrimental and hurtful to us when we feel like we have to pick a side or pick this or pick that. So this brand and these values that you're standing on are so important to us. They're so like fundamental. They're good for our mental health, really, so it's like very empowering. So it's a very empowering thing what you're doing. I'm just so grateful for you. And my next question is, do you feel support, because it is kind of more of like a niche thing, like the mixed race community, so it is like a growing, do you feel like supported by the mixed race? Because that's kind of like where I want us to have like a community that supports each other and really like helps to support brands that are trying to uplift us. So do you feel supported by the mixed race community?
I do. I think though that my biggest hurdle is being seen, right? It's one of those things that if you don't know I exist, you don't even know like what you're looking for, right? You're just kind of like, oh, this is what I have and this is kind of what's there, but you don't know. Like, even me, when I was like starting the business, I literally had to Google like mixed race. Okay, no, biracial. Like, I didn't even know what to Google. So I think that's my biggest hurdle, is being seen. Because I don't even think a lot of mixed race people even think it's like, they don't know that I exist, and they don't know it's a thing that, I can buy a hoodie that's made specifically for me and how I identify. So I do definitely feel supported with the people that know about me and about my brand. But my mission for this year is to really get out there, make sure like, kind of do partnerships with bigger brands, just to get out there. Cause I swear, once people know me, it's immediate. It's an instant connection. I know. So like when people are like, oh, what's your, all like the analytics and everything. And I'm like, as soon as people hear about what I'm doing and my products, it's instant. There is no like second thought. Like it's really quick.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just, so that's what I'm all about. I'm all about like spreading awareness. So I'm so happy you reached out to me, because I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to help spread awareness. They are people, because we say in this community, it's like, there's no people who are really trying to cater to us or really trying to like, but there's a lot of people like you that are out there. It's just about us like having the awareness of it and spreading and being just knowing you guys and getting to know us. So it's like that's what we're all trying to do is like get to know the people. Like I talked to Morris. He said he knew you too. Morris. So it's like people who are like filmmakers or doing things like that. And then I talked to like a therapist. She said she's gonna. So there's people out there. So it's just like about us making the connections about like, and it's really like we are pouring into the people who are pouring into us, right?
100%. 100%.
That's
Yeah, and we are a community, and we should definitely support ourselves and who we are and what we're doing. Because I mean, like you have to serve your community, and I think your community supports you in return. So for
that's
sure.
how it's supposed to be, right? That's how like a real community. So that because that's what I'm so passionate about is like that community building is like uplifting each other and making sure that we're supported and making sure that the people who are because there needs to, like we live in capitalism, there needs to be a demand for it, right? So if there's like there needs to be a demand, it needs to be us like, hey, we want this, like we want brands that are like showcasing us. We want so we have to put in. That's our job. To make sure we're pouring in and giving attention and money to the people. That's our job. We have to do that or we're not going to have it, or like, no, if you can't pay your bills or make no money, we wouldn't be able to. So we have to make sure that we're supporting people. Like so that's what I'm really passionate about.
It's so funny you say that because now, over like the past just 2 years, right? Before, like 2 years ago when I started, it didn't exist. But now you'll see like the Children's Place and like, big box, they'll have more like tan or like in the middle kind of like characters or on shirts and stuff. And I'm like, that's great. I love that for you. But also your target, you don't need this money. You don't need the support. You're going to be fine, right? It's like us little guys. So, you'll be fine. Like you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation,
Exactly.
But it's like, you could support that, or you could support people like you and me who have our own homegrown, very small run businesses, but every product is intentional. Every single thing that we do is done by literally one single person. Yes,
that's something I talked about on my absolutely, because that's something I talked about on my platform. So within we're the biggest growing population, right, in America. So between 2010 and 2020, there was over a 200% increase. So it went from 9 million to 35 million. So people are now. I'm like, we have to be ahead of this. We have to be the ones that we are telling our own stories. We are selling products to us, like made by us, by us, for you, so that I just want us to be in charge of our own, like we're supporting our own, because there is this big population growth. Other companies like you said, Target and bigger companies, they could jump on it because there is going to be a more market, right? So it's like I really do want us making sure we're supporting people, like people who are telling our stories correctly and people who are not just selling us a product that's like, oh, here you go, but actually like really representing us like correctly and actually like saying like, hey, this is who we are and this is like what we need, like really making sure our needs are being met, really, you know what I'm saying? So like that's what's so important. And who would know better than a mixed race person, right? So
right,
like, that's
right.
For,
really and I think I'm one of those people, like there's other businesses like mine, like I said, and there's a lot of like companies, but a lot of the companies are run by people who have mixed race children, and a lot of and so I'm different, right? Not only am I mixed race, but my husband is like a whole entire, and I have to raise another one, right? So it's very different. It's like I'm not trying to say it's it's a bad experience, whatever. I'm just saying it's a different experience when like my parents, they didn't know what to do, right? They were very different. They're from different parts of the world. Like they didn't know what to do, and they had to raise 3 mixed race children. And so it was like weird for them. Like they did their best, and but they don't know what the experience is to be mixed race. They just you can't have that, right? But now I have that, but my experience is very different than my husband's. I was raised with 2 parents. He was raised with 1, right? So it's like even that is different. Yeah, it's totally different dimensions, and then we have this next generation. So it's very interesting, but I feel like I have a very specific and unique voice just because I do come from that background of I myself am mixed, and now I have to raise the next generation of mixed.
Absolutely. So I totally relate. I like relate to it on like such a spiritual level because I'm the same way. Like my husband's mixed, my kids are mixed, and it's like we have to navigate this. We have to make sure like this is for the next generation. So but that's who I do this for too. It's like about having like passing. Like I love that point you made on the other, like passing that knowledge down to the next, so they're equipped, so they can navigate things. So they're not just like scrambling around in the dark. Like we're being the pioneers, so we can like set trail, like so they can have that trail to follow, so they know like what to do, and they're not going over here getting lost because it's like we do deal with so many issues. Like I'm really passionate about like mental health too, like mental health is so important, like that, but having that fundamental like knowledge and self to them, like, hey, it's okay so that you are multiple things. You're not just one thing you fit in a box. So it's like that foundation that they could grow on. That's like, you know, that's why it's so important. It's like
it's super important. And I feel like a lot of like mixed race kids, especially from our generation, we get that too late, right? Like we get it in college, or we get it like as adults, or like I got it, but I got it from my parents in like not overt terms. Like I got like I have a hyphenated name because both my parents wanted to keep, they're very like, they were very into this is my right. So we got hyphenated names, and I remember I got in trouble because I tried to just like write the first one, the shorter one, and not the Muhammad, because I had to like go down the page. I'm like, this shit is hard. Like I gotta write this whole thing, and I got in trouble but I got in trouble specifically for that name. That name is who you are. You are not to give up your identity. But I never got the overtness of like, you are mixed. It's okay to be multidimensional. It's okay. Now I'm able to talk to my child who's only 5, right? And she has her classmates telling her, but you're not brown. But you're not, because she's light, right? But you're not brown. She's like, no, I am. You can't tell me what I am. This is what I am. So she's, even at this young age, she's able to own her identity, like say this is who I am, and then assert it elsewhere. Like I was not doing that at 5 years old, but at least you know, now we can do better for our kids and you know, nieces, nephews, the next generation. It's because it's tough out there. I think a lot of people are like, well, it's getting easier and there's so many more mixed people and blah, blah, blah. No, there's still a lot of, it's still a lot of work. It's still a lot of issues going on. It's like, we're still not totally accepted everywhere. Like,
absolutely.
And now it's never going to end.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Nope.
So, but yeah, I totally like you said, we have to put in the work. Like it's up to us. Like nobody's gonna do it for us. Nobody, because our parents didn't do it for us because they didn't know what to do. They didn't have the experience, right? So it is up to us. And you know, so I'm really like so on board and so connected to that, like making sure that we're doing everything that we can so that next generation that they're not in the dark. So but yes, let me read this comment real fast. It says, this is Georgia. He said, mixed race parents will understand better the nuances of a mixed race identity. Exactly. The mixed race kids of mixed race parents will have that advantage. Exactly. Just like Georgia. Georgia has mixed race parents as well, too. So he kind of, but he didn't really, I don't know. He didn't really get that either. So it's like, like you said, it's not just, oh, we're just going to be mixed. Like everyone's going to be mixed. But magically, we're all just going to just like, it's like, no, we actually really got to like figure things out. Actually. And, like, so that's exactly what we're doing.
Oh, and I do feel like like my kid has an advantage just because she has 2 mixed race parents. Like I definitely feel like she does, just because like she's able to speak and use her terms in, you know, in a way that I couldn't. Not because like, you know, but my parents weren't so overt. They were just very like, they were very proud as individuals, but it was never kind of like, they never kind of like said, oh, you know, well, you're mixed. And like, it was a duh, like, of course you are, like, look at you. Right. But I also had the advantage of being raised in the Bronx in New York, and everybody was brown. Like if you were white, you were like, who are you? Are you the cops? Why are you here? Like, it was just one of those things that luckily enough, I was, you know, I never felt like I didn't belong. But I feel like, I feel like my child does have a distinct advantage because she has 2 mixed race parents. So
see, that's why I value this brand so much, because I'd never been around other mixed race people. It was always in a white environment. Like I was raised like in a predominantly white environment, like Washington State, right? And then I would move to the South, and I was in Georgia, and it was like a predominantly Black environment. So I was always like only mixed person, like wherever I never really had that. So that's why I value like this brand, because I know what it's like. Because it's really lonely and very like take aside. Like you have to like around these, you have to, and it's like that's why I value this so much. Like it's such an important, amazing thing. Oh, and somebody has a question. They said, "Are you going to expand to sewn clothing designs?" She does. You do sew it, right?
Yeah, this is embroidery. Sewn. I wonder if you mean like I don't know what you mean. Like, so we have t-shirts, we have long sleeve shirts, we have tank tops, we have crew necks, we have sweatshirts. What else do we have? Oh my god, we have a lot. We are definitely going to expand to like just different products. You know, I really do like we are not a clothing brand. We're we're a lifestyle brand. So we have like a number of different products, for kind of all areas of life. And, there's no slowing down. We keep going. So we definitely will expand like all of our product lines. And like I said, I do have a lot of partnerships in the works. So I'm excited to kind of just like elevate Mosaic in terms of partnerships with other brands that have kind of like our same values, or that are also run by mixed race people or celebrities, hopefully. Because there's a lot. They could come, they could help me out, you know, like
and they're starting to identify more. Like that's something new that's emerging. Like Mariah Carey and Meghan Markle, they're talking about being biracial. That's something that's new, because back in the day it was like you have to pick a side. You have to only be seen as one. So it's like the celebrities are starting, because they're getting more comfortable with it. Because I just did a post about Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, he was very like, I'm biracial, I'm mixed, you know, I have like, and he was bashed for it. You know, he was like, oh, you're. So back in the day, like the 90s, that's how it was. You can't really speak about it because you're going to be bashed and shamed for it. Right. It's like now we're trying to normalize. Hey, we're mixed race, and that's okay. We're normalizing it now. So that's something that.
And I feel like back then it was always because like you were shunning one side of you, right? Like, oh, I'm not black, I'm mixed. No, you're both. Like you can be both, you know, without shunning one side or the other. So it's one of those things. Yeah, it's like I think it's way more like accepted now, but like we were talking about before, there's still issues and problems. So.
Exactly. And then Abby says, "Oh, are you doing the embroidery on your own machine?" She's
good
a fashion designer. She's
good
she's
question.
So no, awesome. She's New York.
No, yeah, I see it. So I don't do it on my own, because, like I said, I do have a 9-to-5 career. It's extremely demanding, but we do work with a local New York City print company, so they do all my embroidery because they have a ton of machines. And like I said, they're New York City. They're considered a small business, even though they're way bigger than me. And I trust them with all of my like manufacturing things. And that's one of our core tenets too, is that you'll see a lot of like partnerships. Like we have handmade notebooks. The creator, the person who makes those handmade, she is mixed. We've done a lot of partnerships like Diana from Applauding Women. She's mixed. I Am Woman. She is mixed. So we do a lot of partnerships. Because we want to give back to individual creators, the mixed race community, the minority community, and small businesses. So I do like to invest in that. So I do put my money, rather than having my machines in my home, which I can't do. I just don't have the time. I prefer to give it to the small business, uplift them, and then in turn they uplift me. Like they buy my products, they support me fully. So it's a great relationship I have with my printing company here in New York.
Absolutely. All right. So my next question, but Abby's great. She's a sewer. She's a fashion designer. She's awesome. Like,
okay, we might have to talk then, because
you have to talk to her. I'm telling you,
I do not sew.
She's in New York too. Like she's
okay.
So yeah, maybe you guys could email each other or something.
Yeah.
So my next question was, so what keeps you like motivated in hard times? I know we all, because I have my ups and downs, even on this YouTube space. I'm like, oof, it gets hard, it gets tough. So what are like things that like keep you motivated and keep you really like going strong, because you're doing so good, and I'm so proud of you. And it's like I know it gets hard, I know it gets tough, because nothing's easy, right? So it's like, so what keeps you like motivated? What is your main like motivator that's gonna like, I can't give it, I gotta keep going? Like what is that main thing that
I would say it's two things. One, I'm a very self-motivated person. I'm very hard on myself. Like I have that immigrant mentality. Like you don't need to tell me I'm doing a shitty job. I will tell myself I'm doing a shitty job, which is good and bad, right? So I don't need anybody to push me. I push myself, but sometimes I do push myself like into the ground. So a lot of people will be like, oh, when did you start your business? Like years ago. And I'm like, no, this is going to be like my second year, my third year. And they're like, what the hell? Like, how are you able to do this? It's because I just run myself ragged. So I will say I do it because I refuse to fail. Like I have to keep going because this is who I am. And now that I have grown, I do have a community that is in support of me. So they're constantly like asking me like, what's coming next, right? So I really don't want to let anybody down, and nor do I want to let myself down. And then at the same time, it is my child, it is my kid. She's awesome, and she really is looking to me to be that example, right? So I am trying to teach her that, yeah, you can work multiple jobs, like that moms do work, right? So she's never like, oh, mommy, why can't you play with me? She knows I work, and this is how you get all the things that you want. But you don't have to work for a company or a corporation or making someone else money. You can do it for yourself as well. So obviously the ideal is to grow my business into like its own self-sustaining corporation where I don't have to work a 9-to-5. But so she can see like, you know, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my own thing. And then she's able to see herself in all these products, because a lot of the things I'm looking around, because this is also my storeroom, my home office and my storeroom. You can see a lot, like there's a lot of things that are the depictions of the girls are after her, so she can see in her skin tone and her long black curly hair. Like, and so when I forget what I made. I think it was the "I'm not my hair" sticker. She literally opened the box because she does like my unboxing. She likes to do that. So she opened the box and she's like, "Mommy, this looks like me." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "That's amazing." And I'm like over here, like, "Hold it together, Brittany, hold it together." But like literally that encapsulate exactly where I did it so that she can see herself reflected in those things. Like, I did my job. If I don't sell anything, no problem. I did my job because she was able to see it, and now it's all over her folder. And she loves everything. She'll see someone and she'll be like, "That's Mosaic, Mommy. They're wearing your shirt. Hi, boo." So it's amazing. Yeah. So
I love that so much. Like, you're like that, what you're doing for your daughter, you're doing for other people's daughters as well, you know, and it's so special and beautiful.
Like that drives me. It's amazing. It's amazing when I see people who wear the shirt and they say, you know, you've had such an impact, and or you know, you made my son's life in high school easier, or you know, they're able to say so much with just the things that they wear, the things that I create. Like, I don't have to say anything, you know. You don't have to say much because your teacher can do all this lesson for you.
It did like hold me back, like from doing like my YouTube channel, because I'm like, I got all these kids, I got my hut, I got like, it's so, I'm in my little, this is my washer and dryer. I'm on my like washer and dryer.
Good for you. Look at you.
So it's like, yeah, I had to overcome that because I'm thinking, oh, I got all this going on. I really need to focus on this, but it's like, this is something I'm really passionate about too, like my YouTube channel, and like,
and you just got to do it.
Yeah, so it's like, it don't gotta hold us back. Like, being a mom, yeah, of course stuff happens, you know, here and there, whatever. But it's like, it's okay. Like, it's bigger than us. It's not just about me. It's bigger than us, right?
Because you're a mom, and you're a mom, and like being a mom is just one of the things that you are. And you're right. I get so many questions about like, oh, how did you do it? And I always tell people there's never going to be a right time. It's never going to be, when my kids are older, or when I have this different place, or when I have an office. Just do it. Just do it. Yeah. Like, because as soon as you start like something, if you're passionate enough about it, like you are, right, it just takes over and it just goes. And because you like to do it, if you wait till everything's super perfect, like I would have never done this, because it was literally like, how am I supposed to do this? And you just find the time because you love to do it, and you do it, and that's all there is, you know. So
all it is to it, right? I agree. Oh, okay. Abby got a question. She said, "Are you located in the Bronx?"
I'm not. So I was born and raised in the Bronx, right across the street from the Botanical Gardens. I went to high school in Queens. I went to college in Brooklyn. I worked most of the time in Manhattan. And because you can't afford a house in the boroughs, I bought a house in Long Island. So right now I live in Long Island. It's okay. It's different because you have to drive everywhere. And, you know, there's no kind of like, for where I live, it's not like, I have Black mentality, right? Like, oh, your Black is your community, and all of that. So we don't have that out here, but I did want to kind of afford my child the luxury, because it is a luxury of having a house. I didn't have a house till I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15. And even that was amazing. Like, you know, so I wanted to give that to her. So currently I do live in Long Island. But probably not forever, because I am a borough girl. So, and I want my kid, my husband thinks it's weird because he actually kind of grew up in Long Island. But I'm always like, she won't know like how to walk down the street, or like, you know, go to the bodega, or like, you know, just take the city bus. And, you know, so it's like, he's like, why do you want those things for her? And I'm like, I don't know, but I think it adds so much more. Yeah, that's where you get a house. Exactly. I think it just adds so much more to you as a person. Like I know I can walk the street anywhere, right? Just because I'm a New Yorker and I know how to conduct myself. So I want my kid to have the same thing. So I don't know. I think we'll move back to the boroughs just because it's very quiet out here. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to lots of noise, lots of people, things like that. So, but yeah, you know, if you want a house, you gotta. Oh, sorry, Priscilla, you're on mute. Sorry.
Oh, my bad. But New York is lovely. I have to come out there sometime again. I was out there one time. It was over Christmas. It was very beautiful. It was so lovely. I think New York is.
I will never move out of my old position. I had to travel like 2 states a week, so I've been to like 38 states. So I've seen a lot. I'm a New Yorker. Like, I have to stay here. I belong here. Like, I always tell people it's the only place my attitude works. Because New Yorkers don't see it as attitude. It's just like how we talk. Very blunt, very like to the point. So I can never. I don't think I would ever leave New York. I think the option was like, my husband was like, oh, we could buy a house in New Jersey. And I was like, yeah, no, Long Island is far enough from everything. So
I love it. And there's so many like creative people out there, you know?
mm-hmm.
So it's like there's probably so much like inspiration out there for your brand and so much
Mm-hmm.
like create. So that's another question in my life. Well, like what's like your creative process like that? Is it like you're mostly inspired by like your childhood and things like that
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to like so that's like kind of like your creative process is like, you know.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I'm a really like weird organizational person. So I like have a spreadsheet, so I'm like instruct. So I literally have a spreadsheet with all my ideas. I text myself a lot. I email myself a lot. Like ideas just come, and then I kind of like collect it in a spreadsheet, and then I decide like what ideas I want to do based on kind of like the season or like what I'm feeling or something like that, or what people have asked for. So a lot of times I'll have an idea and then multiple people will ask for it. That's kind of where the affirmation card deck came into play. So I have like a lot of ideas. And this year, like I said, I'm focusing on like more like bigger products or like products that take a long time to create like the affirmation deck. So yeah, but that's one of the things I just kind of like look around me and think like, what would I like to wear? What would my friends like to wear? What would my family like to wear? And then we create it. And like, it's not for everybody and that's fine. But the people who get it, they get it. And those are my people. So
Absolutely. I love that. Sorry, my kids are determined to like crash this live stream right now.
My kid keeps coming in and she's like, Mommy, I'm like, get out.
So, we're gonna keep it going though, They're so determined. But yeah. So
that's a good trait. That's a good trait. Determination is good.
Look at them. They're so determined.
That's my
the main things you love about being like a biracial mixed person. So what are the things you love about it? Like what are some things that
I think the biggest thing for me is like the instant connection. In the Trinidadian community, it's like instant connection. So like my husband, he'll go and so he has a sales position and he'll go and he'll go to like these spots and he'll go and so he has a sales position and he'll go and he'll go to like these spots or whatever. And he'll hear like an accent. And he'll go, "Oh, can I ask, like, are you Trinidadian?" And they're like, "Yeah." And as soon as he says, "My wife is Trini," it's like it's over.
He loves it.
So I would say it's like that for me. I think the best part for me about being mixed is that instant connection. Like it happens more on my Trini side than my Irish side.
Yeah, right.
Just because I mean, Trini is Trini.
Oh,
so
Irish too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. See.
Yes,
so it's like exactly. It's like one of those weird things that I feel like it's funny because a lot of mixed people will say they feel like they belong everywhere and then nowhere at the same time.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
And I do feel like that because it's weird because I'll have instant connections with people and then but I think that's what I like most about being mixed is I do just have these weird connections. And now that I'm married and stuff, I have even connections with, the Puerto Rican side and the Black side and, just all that. And now my child came out with beautiful curls like yours. And so now I have this all other connection of like, oh yeah, my child has super curly hair too. So it's just like, yeah, it just opens up all these worlds. I feel like where if I was mixed, I don't think I would be like afforded the same kind of luxury. So I think that's probably the biggest part that I enjoy about being mixed is just like all the doors it opens and all the universes you're able to like step into in and out of. So
absolutely I love that, like instant connections with people. And like I love that, yeah, being able to everywhere and nowhere, that is like kind of the thing. That's why I think it is like important us building our own community because we can connect with like anybody and everybody, right? Like that is I do enjoy that a lot, like having that, like because we gotta kind of transcend. Like that's the thing about being biracial. Like we kind of transcend into like a common humanhood, right? That's what we talk about sometimes. It's like we could really. So I do love that a lot. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so my next question was, so I know we're very passionate about like the next generation. So what are some things that we think like what are the most important things that we should instill into the next generation? Because my kids are mixed, your kids are both mixed. We have mixed families. So it's like what are some you think that are important that we should instill into like the next generation?
Yeah, that's something I think about like on a daily basis. It is one of those things that like I try to do every single day. And it's so funny because my husband just left and all you hear is he's like, okay, to my daughter, he's like, bye. And so my daughter's like, adios. Like, okay,
I love it.
It's like those little things that like she's so multifaceted that we try to make sure like to bring out but it's difficult, right? Because like I said, he really only speaks to one side of his family. Both my parents have since passed away. So like I lose a lot of that connection because, you know, that's it. Like, right. My parents are no longer here. So she will miss that part, right? She won't ever get to see her actual Trinidadian grandfather, right? So it's like one of those things that I think for the next generation is like ensuring that they can see all the parts of the culture, even if you're not connected to the culture, having them connected, right? Like we don't speak Spanish, but we're trying to, as much as possible, expose her to Spanish words and exposure. And then also giving them the tools and some of the words. They don't have to choose the words, but like multiple words to say, here's who I am. Right. And here's how I identify, right? Like not force feeding them, like here's how you're going to identify, but like that you can choose how you want to identify and make sure you assert your identity to those, especially when you're, you know, mix of, and you're different colors, right? You're darker, light, like you're going to be too light for someone and too dark for someone. But it's one of those things of like, you know, my daughter is mostly Black, but she's very light. And so we talk to her all the time just about having these conversations and making sure you stand up for yourself. Like that's a big thing in our house. Like you will stand up for yourself. You will never be punished if you stand up for yourself. I don't care. You get sent to the principal's office. That's okay. I'll come put you back in school, right? Because I feel like as a mixed race person, everybody's going to try to tell you who you are or what you are or how you should be or how you should identify. And I don't subscribe to that. So neither my daughter, and my daughter is very forceful. All her characters, she has the brown crown and she will color in.
I love it.
And that's who she is. So it's one of those things that like, I think if you just create the space and have the conversations and just like have open dialogue around that, you'll see how they're able to form ideas and form these words and form these concepts. And then it makes them feel better about themselves and they understand themselves better. And a lot of people will tell me, oh, she's too young. She doesn't understand. My daughter understands. She understands, you know, she'll grow and she'll change and that's fine. But I just want her to be proud of who she is, where she's from, that she's beautiful, just the way she is. Right. Like she's going to come up against the, you know, the straight hair versus curly hair. Right. Oh, I don't like my curly hair. And I'm trying my damnedest to just make sure like, this is the way you are beautiful, period, end of statement, right? Exactly.
Absolutely. So important. That is so important. I love that. So one of your cards was, I have the power to determine my own identity, right? So that is so important. Like you're instilling her that power. Like, hey, I'm not giving my power away to you to tell me who I am. I have my own power. I am empowered to say who I am and standing firm in who I am. So it is. That's so beautiful. I absolutely adore that. 1 second. So it's like really about empowerment, right? It's really about empowering your children to really just, I love that. Those are so important. Like, and then having that self-love, because that's something I do deal with a lot in these communities. We have a lot of stories of self-hatred.
Yes.
And that's, we have people that are trying to, you know, that been there that are trying to help other people work through that. So it's like from the get-go, you're instilling your kids with self-love of who they are from the get-go, so they don't have to go through that period of self-hatred. Feeling like, so I love that. I love that. So important. So my next question was about the Loving in Virginia shirts, right? So I love your Loving in Virginia shirts. I think that is so important for us because, you know, like we dealt with in America like 306 something years of anti-miscegenation laws. So we do have like a Pacific struggle in America because I was researching in like other like Latin countries, you know, because they're heavily mixed. They never had anti-miscegenation laws. You know, Britain never had anti-miscegenation laws because that's why they're so advanced. Like people could identify as mixed race over in Latin and Britain. And it's okay. It's not like, oh, it's a crazy thing. But over here, you know, in America, how we deal with it was just legalized in the 1967, right? So it's like that's something that is so important for us to realize like our history and making sure like that's a part of our history, right? It's a part of our history. Like, hey, you know, this is the day that it became illegal for our parents to be able to love each other. And then that it's, you know, so it's like, I love that Loving in Virginia shirt so much because it's such important, like American history and know where we come from and to know how far we've come and to know we still got a long ways to go, right? Like it's not like, hey, it makes everything's okay now. And it's like, no, we still have a long ways to go. That's pretty recent still. So it's like, it's still just a reminder, like, hey, this was in 1967. So 300 something years since like the 1700s. It's been illegal for us to exist. It's been illegal for our parents to love each other. So
right.
Like, I love that. So
yeah. And even last year it was, you know, it wasn't, but it was one of those ones that came up in the news is like being overturned and, you know, like, oh, it could possibly, you know, like,
that's
and it
scary, right?
Yeah. And it's true. I mean, it literally would mean that we are illegal to exist.
Exactly. And
that's scary. It's scary, right? So for Mosaic, we that's like our holiday. Like that's the biggest thing. I spend a long time like, you know, planning for it, and it's like our biggest day of the year because it is a specific day just for us. So, and again, like I don't like to pick, you know, this side or that side. So that's kind of where I landed on, just because it is a very mixed holiday, and it's one of those things that a lot of people don't know about, so it does spread awareness.
I just recently, I was saying, hey, we should have this as a holiday. How do we? But it is already a holiday. I did not know that.
It's just it's just one of those things that is kind of like but it's like actual. It's a actual, you know, like holiday, and so like I tend to put a lot into it just because it's such a great message. They're such a great family. They fought. They did that whole law themselves. Like they really put themselves out there. It's really, you know, they were shunned. They had to move to DC. They had to move away from their family, and you know, then they try to say that, you know, it was crazy. So we tend to make a big deal. We tend to make a big deal.
She was mixed herself too.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was Black and Native American as well too. So it's like, so that's why it was so important for her to get.
But then even that, they would like call into question. They're like, oh, well, she's not really Native American. Oh no, she looks Black, and it's like, come on, you know, and but it's scary to think like if that didn't happen, or if it does get overturned, like what could happen, you know. It's not a far off thing to say like, oh, you know, nothing would happen. I really do think, you know, it's scary if it does.
So I'm gonna read this. So it says, there are some people who have told me it would be better to just be Black, identifying because of how both my parents have Black blood in them. It wouldn't be sticking. I wouldn't be standing true to myself. Like it is all about like being true to ourselves. Exactly. So that's what it's all about. Us being able to be free and true to ourselves, and being able to have that self-love. That's what it's all about at the end of the day, right?
And it's funny because a lot of people like they'll say, you know, especially Trinities, right? They'll say, "Oh, you're Trinidadian." I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Well, even you're Trinidadian, period. Like you're nothing else. So you're Trinidadian."
Yeah,
and I'm like, right, but I'm not. But I'm not. I have a whole other side. Like I love my mom to death. Like I have a whole other side of, and you're right. I feel like I'm cheating on, you know, half my family who I'm extremely close with, who has never been anything but good to me. But they just want you to be only part of their community. And you're right. I would feel I've never said I'm just Trinidadian or I'm just Irish. Like it's always been an and I always tell my daughter, like you can figure out your own words, but you know, try to embrace the ands of you, and that's why we have the whole ampersand line, like the and symbol.
I want to
right?
get my mug. I can't wait to get that. I think that is
because I think it's so powerful, right? It's like you're not a or, we are an and you can feel good about being an and just because they want you to pick, okay, good for you. I'm not picking, right?
We're really changing societal standards because it's been Black or white for so long, right? Especially in America, Black or white, either this or that. And it's like we're changing it. We're challenging this narrative. It's like we're and that's it. That's who we are. That's the truth, you know?
Yeah. So, you don't have to like it. I don't care if you like it. Like
we're just challenging people's mindsets about race and about how people identify. And so it's really, I love it. I think that is so amazing. So my last question. I got a couple more questions. Let me see. So I'll have this be my last. So what are the most important, like, because I remember on the other end you mentioned like knowledge, like, you know, when it comes to like business and money and financial empowerment and stuff like that. So what are some of the most important like knowledge you want to pass down to your kids? Because I'm big on that too, like us being financially empowered and having businesses and being able to thrive financially and being able to, so that's something that's so important to me. That's why I'm like so supportive of you. I want you to thrive, girl. I want you to thrive. I want you to, you know, so that's something I want to see our community thrive financially, you know. So what are some important things you think that you want to pass down, that you didn't know that you want to pass down your kids so they could be thriving financially and stuff like that too? So
yeah. And it's crazy because, like, you know, like I said, my dad immigrated from Trinidad to New York. Like, you know, he had nothing and he came to New York and for, you know, America, for the American dream. So it was never not an option to be an entrepreneur. It was just like you go to school. That was not an option. You were going to college and you're going to pay for college. So it was always like, you're going to go to college, you're going to get a good job, get benefits, stay there, work your way up. You know, hopefully when you're like 50 or 60, you make like over, you know, make $100,000 and, you know, you retire and then that's it. And so it was always like, okay, this is the path that you go on. And that is what success looks like, right? Stability and having a good job and all of that. And so I never was told not to pursue, you know, entrepreneurship, but it was never an option. It was never a real option, you know? Right. So when I have, you know, I have my career or whatever, but I feel like for a lot of people, they think starting a business is such a big thing, and it's really not. It really isn't. Right. Like, it's very simple to do. It doesn't take a ton of money. Like, you get your, one of the first things I would tell people is a lot of people will start out like as a hobby and then transform it into a business. I would do it the opposite way. Just because when you get an LLC and you start your business, it's a real thing. And it's a real thing that you can start to grow. And it's your own thing. That LLC is your entity. You own it. Yes. That is something that you own, you know? It's just like, you know, ownership of a property. You own that intellectual property. That's your LLC. The more LLCs you can have, the better. Because then you start to own all these things and you can grow, you know, you can shelve them as you see fit. You can grow them as you see fit. I feel like a lot of people, especially, you know, in the BIPOC community, in the minority community, it's like, well, I can't do that, right? But you can, and you can do it in addition to, you know, how you put your food on the table, your 9 to 5, right? Because we all have to make money. I don't care. I got a mortgage to pay. I got cars to pay. Like, I got to make money, right? But I don't think that should stop us from pursuing a dream that we have. And I really do feel like businesses that is what I'm going to hand down to my child. Because I have my own business. My husband, he does real estate. He has multiple businesses. She is going to have that option to own these businesses in the future, right? So it's not just like go to school and, you know, get money. And it's like having these things that you can hand down to your children that they can continue to build. So that's kind of like one of those things that I'm really focused on is having that mentality for my daughter to understand that I can do this myself. I can build my own thing. I don't have to build someone else's dream. I don't have to build someone else's, you know, corporation. I don't have to work for this person. You can be successful if you invest in yourself. Unfortunately, though, for people like us, it is difficult because we are not afforded the luxury of, you know, having someone pay our rent or living in our parents' house or things like that. Like, unfortunately, we are, you know, kicked out or like, you know, sent off into the world when, you know, we're fairly young, where I think a lot of other communities, they get afforded the luxury of like after college and 30s and things like that. But I mean, obviously it happens, but speaking for me, that wasn't it. It was year 18, time to go. But I do think it's one of those things. I think it's a myth that starting your own business has to be this huge thing. It doesn't. It really doesn't. And you can grow it as you see fit. Take your time. Do these little things here and there, but you own that. That is something you own and you can hand down. You can grow, or you can kind of, you know, not grow it. It's up to you, right? But that's totally within your power. So I really want to break that mold of, and that's why we were talking about before. It was like, just start. And so when I tell people, when they're like, I don't know how you could do this, like, I'm like, just start. What do you need? I'll help you. And I'm one of those people, like you'll see on Instagram and stuff, people ask about manufacturers and things, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to tell you. I did all this research, so I'm not going to tell you. I don't give a shit. I will tell you every single thing, because the people that I support, I want you to support them as well. So I will give you my print shop. I'll give you anything. People DM me all the time, like, oh, I don't know if I should ask. I'm like, and I will send you my printer and this and that. Why am I going to gatekeep it? I don't care. Those people are great. They help me out a lot. I'm going to give it to you too, because I want you to win just like I want to win.
I love that mindset so much. It's like start an LLC and then, so it's like we kind of got it backwards. So people got to like do a hobby, then an LLC. So it's like start an LLC and just start, and don't be afraid to like ask people. And I love you are like people to be around, because like people who do want to see you win and do want to help you, who are willing to share with you what they know. And it's like, I love that. I really love that.
And it's amazing because what you give to me, I give back to you. You know, I have so many people that like have started businesses after me, and you know, we talk all the time, and it's like bouncing feedback off each other, and it's because we both want to win at the same time. I'm not fighting with you. I'm not in competition. We are part of the same community. When you win, I win automatically. Like it's an automatic thing. So I think it's one of those things that, like, you know, I think our community needs to like come together like more and make sure like we're doing, you know, more for each other, and not having, you know, kind of this competition mentality. Because I think that's where a lot of other communities, they succeed, right? They take care of their own. You know, there's been all these studies about how a dollar goes so far in other communities, and I want our dollar to go super far as well. And we can do that with
right?
with knowledge sharing, and we're doing it right now, right? I'm supporting you, you're supporting me. We're both, giving each other platform to, share.
And I got a big family. I'm just like,
nope.
So I was not expecting that.
Nope.
So yeah, but look, like Fader, he's working with me. There's so many great people in this community that are so talented and like this person has this talent. Like me, eventually my dream, I want to do like some little YouTube merch, like a little shirt or something.
Yeah.
Like cute little shirt, and like there's some artists in my community, and there's cool people like you that are knowledgeable about like business and the business aspect of it. And one thing that stood out to me in the other interview too is like the most important for you thing is to stay organized, because that's something a lot of people struggle with, right? It's like
it's hard, yeah.
So that's something that I would. Do you have any like organization tips? Because I think that is so important, like when you're starting out, because that's something I struggle with. I'd be all over the place. I'd be like, so that's something that I really do want to. It's a skill. It's like a real skill.
It's a skill.
Being able to it's not like, because so many people think of it, you are organized or you're not. It's like a personality trait.
No,
it's like a real skill.
It's a learned skill. Yeah, yeah. I would say, yeah, like it's one of those things. Like I said, so I wake up, I work my 9 to 5, and I take, now thankfully my daughter's in kindergarten, so she's at school most of the time. She gets back, I tend to her. And then we do dinner, and then we clean the kitchen, and then she got to get a bath. And so really I can sit down probably at like 7 o'clock. And then so 7 to 8:30, that's my Mosaic time. Everybody knows it. Mommy has her Mosaic laptop out. It's full of her stickers. So that's my time. So I think one of the things that I would say to a small business owner or someone who wants to do their own business is set aside time, at least during the weekdays, maybe not on the weekends, because everybody got to rest. But like set times. This is going to be my time. I only do this. Nobody bother me. Like I'm going to do a solid hour of me dedicating myself to my business. You would be surprised how much you get done in that hour, in that 2 hours, as opposed to being like, oh, maybe I'll work on it or whatever. If you dedicate that time and space, you'll be surprised. So I would say that is one of my biggest organization tips. And that just works for me. I have a set amount of time that I can dedicate. That's what I'm going to do. So I make sure I dedicate that time to it. The other thing is I actually have like a daily planner, and I use my own planner with the days. And if I know I have to do something, I write it on that day. And that's the only thing I'll do for that day. So I focus. So like one of the things I did yesterday, for example, was I have the ampersand coffee mug. So I want to sell it to other coffee shops. So I researched all of these coffee shops, and I pulled all of, their emails, and I emailed them yesterday. And so that was my task for yesterday. Like, I got to do this. And I have a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday task. If you break down all your bigger tasks into manageable, like smaller chunks, you can get that done every day. And then you feel successful because you did what you set out to accomplish for that day. And you're also pushing your business forward, right? It doesn't have to be a huge task. It could be something mundane, like doing your taxes or, like your expenses or whatever. But I feel like when you have limited time to focus on your business, which is fine because like you have a life, if you choose one task a day, you can get it done. And then you're going to be nice and fulfilled when you cross that off, right? And then I would say the third thing that I have is I'm a spreadsheet queen. Like I love Excel. I love spreadsheets. It really does keep me organized. So I have a spreadsheet with goals, and those goals are broad, like hit a certain amount of revenue or have a certain amount of collabs or partnerships. And every day I try to chip away at those goals because those goals are ultimately going to lead me somewhere bigger. So like I said, I really want to sell more wholesale. So that coffee shop thing that I did yesterday, it ties back to that main goal. So I think it's just taking it little by little, where if you just remain super focused for that like hour or two that you have, I'm telling you, this is literally how all of this was built in 2 hours a day. Like
I love that.
I never stopped working. Like I had my child the whole entire time. Like I just never did. But you would be surprised how much you get done if you just say, this is what I'm going to accomplish in this hour. You'll do it. You will do it. I'm telling you.
I love it. I think you have a planner on your website.
I do.
Right?
Where is it?
Planner. Let me see it. Oh, I gotta get one.
What don't I have? I'm telling you. Yeah. See, it's my like daily.
Oh, look at that.
And if you write, like, this is what I'm doing today, you'll get it done. I'm telling you. And then all of those tasks build up. to the bigger task, right? Of because you're never going to be like, I'm going to start a business. No, it's like step one, do it like what is my goal for my business, or who's my community, like all these incremental steps. Once you knock them out, you would be surprised. I got a business, I got a name, I got a slogan, I got a logo, I got everything, I got a business. And now it's like, okay, what am I going to do? I want to do this hoodie. Okay, first things first. What do I want my hoodie to feel like? Do I want a heavy hoodie? Yeah. It's literal, like it's incremental blocks that make a building, as opposed to being like, I'm just going to build the whole building. It's the blocks that make it. And for people who are, you know, who have other jobs and other things that they want to do, you know, some people call a side hustle. This is a lot of work for a side hustle, so I don't call it a side hustle. But I feel like it's one of those things that you can chip away at every single day, and you turn around a year later and you have a whole empire. I'm telling you, like, I love it. If I can do it, everybody can do it.
I love it. I love it because it goes back to, it chose you, right? This is something that wanted to express itself through you.
It was weird. Yeah.
And you just did it, right?
And I just never stopped. I just keep going. And every year I'm like, do I? Nope. Still love it. Still going to keep, still going. Still love it. I'm still here.
And you're enjoying it. And I can see the joy. I can see like so much love that you put into it, because that makes a big difference versus something that you're just trying to do. And it's just like, but it's like, you really put a lot of love and time, effort into it. And it's like, that's like, I don't know, the branding is so amazing. Like the branding is like, wow, like it's really a real brand, you know. It's not just like, oh, this is just like, you know, just something. It's like a real brand that makes you feel good, makes you feel empowered, makes you feel like, wow, I really want to wear this, because it's like, look at my little Daria, you know, like she's feeling her curl. I wear this to work every day. Every single day I'm wearing this and I feel like her little curl. It's like a statement. Like, look at the curls, the everything. So yeah. But my suggestion, can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
So my suggestion, if you ever do any more like mixed tunes, because that's my favorite thing.
I think I know what you're gonna say, because I know you. I think I know what you're gonna say. I know.
Okay. Reggie from Rocket Power. Yeah, you know, that was my mixed like icon back in the day. I used to be a little tall boy, and I'd be out there because they would be out there running around and surfing and skateboarding, and that was my mixed icon. And then another one would be the Powerpuff Girls, like the little mixed Powerpuff girl. That'd be so cute.
I really like these, like, because like I said, like we're from the 90s. I love it. I also had the idea the other day to do like I wrote in my spreadsheet, because I'm weird. What I write, the Peanuts characters, like Snoopy, Woodstock, Charlie Brown. Like, imagine little brown Charlie Brown.
So I like that a lot. I think
it's so cute.
Fun. Yeah, I love it. I love like we're reimagining these characters. And, like, it's just so fun. Like, I love it.
But it's so, I will say though, Priscilla, it's so funny that I've gotten so many, like when these first came out, I've gotten so many comments of like, well, why don't you just use like the black one from Hey Arnold, Gerald? Like they didn't even say Gerald, they just said the black one. Like, why don't you use the black one? Like, why do you have to like do this? So first of all, I was like, go yourself. Second of all, I'm like, Gerald's, first of all, his name was Gerald. Second of all, he was black. He wasn't mixed. So like you saying like, oh, just use, you know, or Susie Carmichael. Everyone was like, why don't you just use the black one in the Rugrats? I'm like, first of all, you missed the whole point. You missed the whole point. Okay, obviously, it's people who don't, like, they're not from the community. They don't know. So I don't put much stock in what they say, but also I have a lot of time to go at people, and I will go at people just because I'm like, you have time to type? I have time to type. I don't care. I'm not the person to be like, oh, like I'm above all this. Nope. I will come at you just like you came at me. Sorry. I have time today. Sorry. But it's just so funny because they just missed the whole point of it, of like, well, you're talking about, you know, black characters. You're not like, and the whole point was to reimagine.
Exactly.
And then, you know, the designer who I partner with to do these, like, he had a great time. He loved the whole experience. He was like, this is such a great idea. He had you know, I was like, do however you want, however you envision them. And he just went to town and it was amazing. And they came out awesome.
So I think so. Y'all go ahead and cop some of these mixed tunes, okay?
You have Daria, I have Doug.
Yeah, I got Daria, Doug. You know, go ahead and cop them, okay? So it's just so fun. And, you know, I got my discount code, Magic Share 25. You already know. Get a little discount in there. And, you know, support this amazing brand, you guys. Like, seriously, like, this brand is, like, phenomenal. It just makes me feel so happy that you exist. Like, there's something there that it just makes me feel like, and then you're so creative, so professional, so amazing. Everything looks beautiful. Everything's just so well put together and organized. And it's just amazing. Like, you deserve all the support, all of it. And, I just want to keep seeing you thrive and do well.
Thank
And I'm just
you.
like, I'm so excited. And I haven't forgot about, like, hopefully we do like meetup events and we can have little swag bags, soon. Like little
Yeah.
like that'd be so fun. So there's
Yep.
so much. It's just, we're going to make it happen. It's all about, like you said, time, focus, planning, organization, and just keep going, right? And just keep going.
Just
and
keep going.
Yep. So I just hope to see your brand grow more and more international. We worldwide, all over. I want to see you, have celebrities support. It's gonna happen. I already know it's gonna happen.
I feel it. I feel it.
I feel it too. It's such a cool. It's so amazing. Like this brand, it's too good to not. Okay, so it's too good, and yeah, I think this was a fun conversation. It was
Thank you
so good
so much.
to get to know you more. I really love you as a person. Like the person behind the brand is so amazing. So I really just appreciate you taking the time to have.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. And so I hope that, this gets out there. I'm going to make some little clips just to help spread awareness of the brand. Let's tell a friend, word of mouth. Everybody tell a friend about. I tell a lot of people because, where I work at, there's a lot of mixed people where I work at. So I tell them about your brand. I tell them about. So even in, offline, tell people about it, word of mouth. And let me draw a little card. I said I was going to do that at the end of my life. Just for fun. So let's draw a card. Let's see what it says. It says, I am safe for me to be my authentic self. Absolutely. And that's the message there. Just keep being your authentic self, you guys. Like, that's what we're here. Yep. What is Mosaic? Go check it out. Okay. Oh, Mosaic. Like, oh yeah, you wanted to explain the Mosaic, like the story behind that real fast?
Yeah.
The word.
Yeah. So I was thinking about a name for like the longest. I mean, I think it was like 3 months I had to come up with a name, and I'm like, nothing like clicked, And I actually asked my mom. She was an English major, and she's read every book. She's just a reader. And I was like, Ma, I'm struggling. Can you figure out a name? And I was like, I want the name to have a double meaning. I don't want it to be so overt. I was like, just see what you. So she came up with a list, and I didn't like anything on the first list. Then she came up with a second list, and she's like, she lived in Indiana at the time, and she was calling me. She would tell me, how about this? I'm like, nah, how about this? And then she's like, how about Mosaic? And I'm like, Ma, that's it. And she's like, yeah, because a mosaic is a compilation of things. And in art, it's like you take different pieces of tile and you make a bigger picture. I'm like, that's it. That's who we are. We are different. We're smaller pieces. And that's what makes up the whole of us, like the entity of us. And I was like, that's it. And so Mosaic, I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. It fits my brand to a T. It fits who we are to a T. It's not so overt. It's not so excessive, but it's like, when you look at it, it's like, oh, you are a mosaic. You are different parts that make up the whole of you, right? Your different experiences, your family has an impact on you, who you are, where you were, where you're going to, where you are currently. All of that has an impact on who you are. And I feel like that it just was, it fit. And I was like, Ma, you nailed it. That's it. So
I love that. I love it. I absolutely love it because it fits us. It does, like you said, it just works. And then Abby, I hope you and Abby could get in contact with each other because
yes,
she says we're cheering for you, major expansion and exposure. Absolutely. And do you guys have any last questions or anything for her before we close it out? I'll just give y'all a minute if y'all have any last questions. But you got any more upcoming things you're working on? Any sneak peeks or anything? No.
I got I have more products coming, but my biggest goal for this year is I wrote my own children's book. And so
children's book
coming. It's my second baby. I'm into other babies that are not real human babies. Yeah. So I have an illustrator. She's currently becoming an illustrator in this. What?
Book, baby?
I'm writing a children's book.
Trampoline.
I'll send you one. A trampoline?
We ordered a trampoline.
You need a trampoline. So that's my big goal for this year is to I wrote it. It's getting illustrated right now. And I'm going to publish it. And I'm actually, so this is what we were going back to, Priscilla, before about generational wealth and starting your own business. Instead of going to a publisher and being at their whim and giving them a cut of my money, I decided I'm going to do another LLC that is a specific publisher. And so it'll be Mosaic the Label Publishers or something like that. And I will self-publish my book so that I can be in control. I can control, how it's printed, what it looks like, all of that. And then again, it's just another thing that I have under my belt. It will be another business and something that I control and I own. And then I can, publish my book but I'm going to publish it in a way that it will get out into like the major retailers like Barnes and Nobles and Amazon and things like that. But that's my big goal for this year is to have an actual printed, children's book. And obviously it's going to be for everybody, but just like kind of all of my products, the real community is the mixed community. So it's about a little girl and she has a patchwork quilt. And she's walking in the woods and she's so cute. I had to tell my illustrator, I was like, can you go darker? Can you go a little bit darker? Because I'm like, can you go a little bit darker? I'm like looking for the medium skin tone.
Yeah.
What I look like in the summer. Hello, mixed people. You know what this is. This is the winter skin right here.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen the sun in months.
Same. I live in Washington. There's no sun.
And these lights are not helping, but that's okay. I'm super excited about it. I've been a writer my whole entire life. I was an English major in college. Like I've written, little things here and there. So it's gonna be huge just for me personally to like finally publish a book. And I love that I can do it in the realm of, my small business and Mosaic. So okay. Okay, sure. I can answer it. So my mom is of Irish descent. So she was born and raised in Indiana, like a tiny town in Indiana. And she moved to New York the day after she graduated high school. So she was one of 3 white people that grew up on our block in the Bronx. And then my dad is from Trinidad. He's from a tiny town in Trinidad, in South Trinidad, in Faizabad, which is right outside of Port of Spain, which is the capital. And he is actually mixed Trinidadian. So he's Black Trinidadian and Indian Trinidadian. So like I have grandparents that are from Pakistan and then obviously of African descent as well. And then it's funny because so I'm one of 3 and I'm the middle one. And I actually I'm literally in the middle. Like I look just like half of my parents. So much so that I literally have both my ears are different. And one of my ears is from my mom and then one of my ears is from my dad. So this ear is the flap is folded down and this ear the flap is folded up. So my brother has these ears and my sister has these ears and I have both. So yeah, and then my husband is Black and Puerto Rican, and so my daughter is Irish, Trinidadian, Black, and Puerto Rican. So United Nations, baby.
Beautiful.